The Extreme BPM Tuesdays and Fridays, all right? That is Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. East African time. That's when we get to do this. We talk to people that make the music. Remember, in between the week, Monday to Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. East African time, we play more of the music, all right? The E-Jazz mix. So we talk to any of the artists that are featured on the show on Tuesdays and Friday. So today I am talking to, let's see, we played one of the first singles of the EP, and that was Lost, right? And we've gone on, and the entire EP is out right now, that you can get it on any of the streaming platforms, and go check. I would encourage you to go check that out later on when we are done with this conversation. I don't want to send you away right now, but on the show today, we have Sonia Elisheva, right? And welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm doing really well, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And glad to have you on the show today. Our introduction to you was Lost, right?
Yeah, that's right. The first track.
Yeah, and I remember when that song came out, and we had you on briefly talking about what the song meant to you and what it was about, and you said it was part of a project. And but I would want you to talk about that in your own words on the show right now. But first, let's get into this though. How do you get into the business? How does music get started for you? What were your earlier influences?
So yeah, it's interesting with me because I didn't grow up singing. It's not really something that people knew me for when I was a kid or anything. As a child, I did drama, I did dancing, acting, things like that, but I didn't do singing. So it's something I started at university. I actually was living in the Netherlands, and that's where I studied, and they had these open mics, and people kept saying, you should perform there, and I said, no, singing is not for me. I could never do music, but I always wanted to try it. And one day I just decided I was going to sing an Amy Winehouse song. I was going to be brave and do it. And so I did it, and then everyone was like, but you have a voice, and I didn't even know that I could sing. So it was really by accident, by chance in a way, because I really had no confidence to do it. And I never thought about doing it seriously, but I just loved performing. I just really, really, really love singing. It just makes me happy. And yeah, I never thought about doing it seriously actually until the pandemic. I started to then put stuff online. Before that, I'd never put anything online. And when I started to do that and I saw people started to listen to it, it gave me some ideas on maybe actually I could write my own stuff. Before that, I just sang covers. And that's kind of how I started, was really through Instagram, just putting stories of myself, videos of myself singing. And then eventually that led me to work with a record label, that led me to get on Spotify and other streaming platforms. And then, of course, like now I'm at the stage where I'm independently releasing my EP. And yeah, but I'm quite new to the whole industry and definitely just figuring it out as I go along.
You had a short-lived life with the label. Why was that so?
No, I mean, the label was, so I wasn't signed to the label. It was just we did individual tracks, and I'm still working with them. We have a very good relationship, but it was only for a certain style, which was Electro-Swing. So if you listen to most of my tracks on Spotify and iTunes and everything right now is in that style, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do soul, I wanted to do jazz, and I wouldn't have been able to do that with the label. So that's the only reason I didn't release on there. Plus, I think it's just cool to try doing it yourself. And I think that gives you really good experience. It's hard work, but I really wanted to try just releasing independently.
Yeah, and this is what is interesting. What I picked up on is when the first time you're told to sing, what's so curious is why would you choose Amy Winehouse? Because that's a very different artist, especially if you're going to do it, you have to do it right.
Yeah. I decided to do Amy because, well, Amy is definitely my biggest influence vocally. And also when I was a kid, everyone used to say I looked like her, probably because I had really big, big black hair. So I've loved her since I was a child. But so I'd had some singing classes when I started university, and when I didn't know at all what I could sing. I didn't think about it at all, but I started to sing a song. I think it was Tony Braxton, Unbreak My Heart or something. And my singing teacher actually stopped me and he was like, there's something in your voice that reminds me of Amy Winehouse. Why don't you try singing an Amy song? So I sang Back to Black, I think. And my singing teacher was like, you need to sing Amy. You need to sing Amy. If you're going to perform, you should do that one. And so that's how I ended up doing it. Not just because I love her, but people used to make comparisons to my voice with her, but then I had to be careful because I didn't want to try and copy her, which I was doing for a long time. So always I would be singing Amy covers every time. People just knew me for that. So when I decided to do my own music, I thought I have to stop trying to be Amy. I'm not Amy, and you know, she is so her own thing, and I need to be myself. So that it was also a challenge.
So talk to me about the transition from doing covers and then to making music of your own. You know, how hard was that?
It is so funny because in a way it was really difficult, and in a way it was so easy. But what I mean by that is that it was so easy for me to sit down. So I was working with producers on the label. That's how I started to write my own songs, and they would sort of give me an instrumental and say, go and think of a melody, go and think of lyrics, go put the vocals, and we need it by Friday. And so I had this pressure and I didn't think I could do it. But when I sat down, suddenly just like when I had that bit of pressure on, I was able to, like, all this stuff just came out that I didn't even know I could do. So in a way, like, actually transferring my skills and like writing was easy. But what is really hard going from covers to originals is putting yourself out there. You're not singing someone else's song anymore. Now people are judging you for what you've written, the words you write, the way you're singing. And that's so different to taking someone else. It's easy. I mean, it's not easy, but it's easier to go and take an Amy Winehouse song that everybody loves. And everyone, you know, everyone's going to say it, but the song was great, even if they didn't like you. But here you have an added problem, but they might not like what I've written, and it's personal. You know, with this EP, it's very personal for me. So it requires some thick skin, and I really had to take some time to like mentally also prepare myself to be judged in that way as well.
And what was, because let's talk about your EP, right? And before I get into EP, one more thing. Talk to me about the girl with the golden voice. Who phrased that for you?
So that was a journalist from Poland, and so when I released a track which is called Every Now and Then, which is online, someone from Poland, a journalist, she wrote a nice article for me. Well, not for me, for me and the producer I wrote it with, and the title was The Girl with the Golden Voice, and then she described me as that throughout, and it kind of stuck. And then I noticed some people started to say, oh yeah, the girl with the golden voice. So I thought that was really nice. It was one of the nicest things I've read about my voice, so that's where it came from.
Yeah, and then before we get to the Hummingbird, which is your EP, then one more thing, the Jazz Awards. What these are called? What is the name of these awards?
So I used to live in a city called Maastricht in the Netherlands, and they are quite big. They're big on jazz, actually. So they run the biggest jazz awards in the region of the country, and every year they have jazz festivals, and there's lots of stuff going on there in relation to that genre. And during the pandemic, I saw that they were allowing entries online this time. So I just saw it advertised and I thought I could apply for that. Although I honestly thought, oh, well, that's never going to go anywhere. But I saw it advertised and I thought, well, I could just try. And I had this music video that I'd done, that I'd filmed in Portugal because I was living there at the time. And it was a cover of Mr. Magic, actually one that Amy Winehouse has done as well. And I decided to submit the video. But honestly, I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. And then a couple of later, I just got this email, you've been nominated as for the professional prize. So that was a bit of a shock to me, because I genuinely, first of all, didn't think that they were even going to bother responding to it, and I definitely didn't think I would be nominated. So yeah, it was an honor.
Yeah, and you know, so then talk to me. Now we get to the EP. You decided to decide and make an EP called Hummingbird.
Yeah.
So you said when you were starting to write, even the EP is more personal to you. But how do you create the distinction in writing, in wanting to share a piece of you, but also not having it like overshadow the part where people enjoy the music, because it's more relatable to everyone that probably gets to listen to it? So how do you create the distinction between that, hey, I'm going to share my life, but I still want you to enjoy the song?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's finding the fine line between being yourself, being honest, being personal, but maybe not too far. And I think sometimes when I was writing, I was making the mistake of just being a little bit too personal. And the topics that I think are on the EP, which is being lost, but then also being found, but then being happy in yourself, being lonely, all these kind of things. I think there's stuff that everybody goes through, especially, especially given the last 2 years where I think a lot of people have been struggling. I think that the general themes that I've built the songs around, I think that they are topics that basically everyone has felt those kind of feelings at some point. So I think the themes are, relatable, but I think what I was actually writing about is still me. And I think that's important to get across as well, because if I start to go in the mindset of I need to write it so that people like it and people relate, I'm not going to be being honest either. So it is hard to find the fine line, but I think it's just, maybe sharing, but not oversharing.
Yeah, and so the first single was Lost. We talked briefly about that when it had just come out, but then now the whole EP is out, and it was an intro to what the EP will be about. So talk to us about Lost, and did you finally find yourself after that?
It took a while, but and I think the idea of lost, it's the realization that I don't think you're ever going to say I'm found now and I'll never be lost again. That's not how life works. You go through different stages of life. Sometimes you feel great, sometimes you feel you're exactly where you need to be, and other times you feel just lost. And the idea wasn't first I'm lost, now I'm found, that's it, now I'm happy and everything's great. Like it's not really that. It's more just like when you're in that state of mind and you're feeling that way, it's a reminder that you won't always, everything is temporary, everything. And that's what it was important to start with that track, because, well, first of all, it was the first song I wrote for it, so it made sense to begin there. And I wasn't even sure at the time when I wrote it if I was going to make an EP around it, but I just liked the vibe. So I decided to follow on with more songs. But it's meant to be a journey. The song is a journey. You'll hear that in the music. It's a build up musically. It's also a build up lyrically, because it starts with feeling lost, and in the end it's more hopeful, like, but I'll find a way at some point. And it's important, because it reflects the whole EP, as you said before we started this. The whole EP is a story. So the first track is Lost and the last track is Thrive, and so that's important as well. Like it really has to tell a story.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for people that missed, when we, because you gave us actually more of a detailed introduction to the EP when we had Lost on the show. So you have Lost, then there is Up Your Game, State of Mind, Hummingbird, then Thrive. Those are 5 songs of the EP, which is called Hummingbird, guys, that is available where you get music right now. So Hummingbird, why did you call it Hummingbird?
I called it Hummingbird because so hummingbird in nature, it basically represents making the best out of a bad situation. So the idea is when you see a hummingbird in nature, it means that bad times are about to end, something better is coming, and that you've got to make the best of where you are right now. And I think I read that as a child, and it's always stuck in my head, this idea of a hummingbird, and I always thought it was a really beautiful representation. It's a really nice symbol. And I was thinking about it was actually funny because I think my friend actually asked me once, if you were going to be any animal or creature, what would you be? And I couldn't think of anything for ages. And it was actually, she said to me, I think you'd be a hummingbird. It's like and you're a singer, and it sings as well. And I was, at the time, I was like, haha, yeah, that's not. And some months later, it suddenly came back in my head, and I was like, that's actually like a really beautiful representation of where I am right now. Like it's a symbolic thing of nature, but also it really describes how I feel. And the whole EP is about trying to make the best out of something that's bad, and it's trying to see brightness where there's dark, basically. And that's why a hummingbird, and that's why all the visuals that I have for this on the artwork, on my social media, and all the videos, there's so much nature in it, and it's all outside. And that's because of the hummingbird, and the whole idea being trying to make the best you can out of what you have.
Now, who are you telling to up their game, right? Because that's track number 2. And who are you telling to up their game?
I couldn't possibly say any names, but well, you know, it's kind of a general feeling rather than it being specifically about someone, to be honest. It's more of a general thing. It's just a mood I had, is the best way I can explain it. Well, I was thinking, I've had enough of this, and it's a bit different to the rest of the songs on the EP, if you notice, because it's more of there's more of a romance thing going on there, whereas the rest of the tracks, they really don't have that much in them. And actually, I always said I wasn't going to write any kind of love-based songs on it, but I ended up putting one on there anyway. But I mean, it's not a love song. It's more just, I would describe it as kind of a sassy mood song. It's basically saying, generally speaking, you need to make effort with people. You should invest your time into someone that you care about. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. And it was just a general mood I was feeling in. Yeah, I wouldn't want to direct it at anyone specific, but
no, it's directed at someone specific.
Kind of. But I think a lot of people could relate to that as well. I mean, yeah, it's a problem I find with so many of my friends as well. When you're seeing someone and they don't make effort or anything like that, so it's kind of just like, you need to up your game, otherwise I'm out.
Now, we might need help on the show, right? Because when it might mean different for different people, right? Because when ladies say up your, I need you to do a little bit more, because I've faced this in my life too, right? In my personal life, when I'm seeing people, when you're dating people, right? They say up your game, and I'm like, to what exactly? Because I feel like I'm putting up an effort, but it always seems like there is something else that is needed. But then the communication, we are both not coming to a common ground of understanding what that is. So for the benefit of people that might listen in right now, or me myself, what do you mean when you say you need to put in an effort? If someone is creating time and they are present, and they are when there are conversations that are needed, the person is available. When they are needed, they are there. What else do they need to do? What do you mean by make an effort?
Well, in the particular situation I'm talking about in the song, it was really lack of communication via the phone. When you can't see someone as much in real life,
yeah,
I think I'm of the opinion that if you really like someone, you will find time to text them back. You'll find time to give them a call. And if you don't really like someone, you won't. There's no excuses really in my eyes. Like, maybe I'm a bit harsh, but I just feel like if you really like someone, if you really miss them, you can find 5 minutes to send a text back. And so when I'm saying up your game, it's like, if you really liked me, I think you could make the effort to text me back. That's really what it comes down to. And if you can't, that's fine, but be honest, let me know, and I'm going to go and find someone who will make an effort and who can find time to text me back. So that's really what I meant when I was saying it. But actually, to be honest, in real life, away from music, I'm not very good at saying how I feel straight about things. So it's easier for me to put it in a song, although I don't think I'd ever be brave enough to send it to whoever it was about.
Yeah. So clearly, guys, if you're listening in right now, because you see yours was more about, in your person, in your own experience, you're saying it's more about texting back and creating time to do that. In instances like where I am, it's more like, hey, I text back, I return the call, or I won't even I will pick up the phone. I will do that, but still it's more like, you need to do more. And I'm like, how much more do I have to do? 12 hours on the phone, is that enough?
Yeah, but you know, I think it's all about communication, just saying what do you actually want, what do you want. But I think the problem is when people don't communicate. So when you don't even bother to say it, it's good if you ask, well, what do you actually want?
Yeah,
You know, you need to have that conversation. But if you don't even ask, you can't really sit and wonder why it's gone wrong, because you know it's definitely two ways though. I do agree with you, like on the one hand it's easy for me to say up your game, but I do need to specify that how you can do that. But it definitely has to be two ways. Like I do agree with that.
yeah. So guys, Sonia Elisheva is on the show. She has an EP out that is Hummingbird that I recommend that you go and check out. And he's the easiest way you'll check that out, right? When you go to any of your streaming platforms, whatever you use, do not run through titles of songs, just play it the way it is, okay? And that's when you'll actually enjoy it, even the musicality on the song. Who did you work with on would you want to give a shout out to people, shout-outs to people that you worked with on the song, the producers and all that?
Oh yeah, there's quite a lot of them. I'm probably gonna forget some and feel bad, but so George Hernandez, I have to give a shout out to. He was a producer. He helped me with 3 out of the 5 tracks on there, Lost, State of Mind and Hummingbird, and he's super patient and really helped me with that. There's a producer, and if you don't know him, you should check him out. It's called Riff Kitten, and he helped with he created the instrumental for Hummingbird, the actual song Hummingbird, not the EP, and it's a beautiful, beautiful instrumental. I was blown away by it when I heard it. He's amazingly talented, and in general, people that helped me with the artwork. So yeah, loads of people helped me with photos and videos. So yeah, it really was like a huge team project, and I'm obviously sitting here talking about it as my own and my Facebook, but like as with everything, it's a lot of people that help make that, and yeah, I am super grateful.
Yeah, guys, Hummingbird is the EP. Go check that out. And you know, I like the fact that the way you introduce yourself is that it's all you on all the songs. That's so when people are checking out, it's only actually the interesting part is when I was checking it out, I couldn't tell the first time the song got done, when Lost got done, because I've been playing Lost and I've that I knew, right? But then when Up Your Game came in, then I was like, by the time I went to check back, I was already on track 3. I was like, oh, I like how it keeps, you know, it keeps going, and you know, you keep the vocals on the vocals too. You brought that in, yeah. You came in with that, yeah. That's yeah. You delivered. You did deliver, guys. Check the EP out, okay?
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Yes, and so what do we play off the EP? Yeah, we have out of the 5 songs. I know your next track is Thrive, which is your next single, right? But the good thing is that this conversation comes out when the EP comes out.
Yeah.
So now, so what do we play off the EP?
What should you play off the EP? Oh, I have a soft spot for State of Mind as a song.
Track number 3.
Track number 3. I have a bit of a soft spot for it. Oh, I should give a shout out to my friend Jazzy Beats as well, because he created this track with me, and he's amazingly talented as well. So shout out to him. I like State of Mind because it's a little bit more upbeat than the other ones. I think it's definitely a chill EP, isn't it? Like it's quite slow. It's like a calming kind of sound. That's the only track where it's a bit more that upbeat, and there's a real sax in it, which I love, and I think it gives it like a real cool jazzy spin to it. And you know, it's hard to say one track that I think you should play, because I think it depends on your mood, it depends on everyone's mood, but I definitely have a soft spot for State of Mind. It just, for me, it's like a real kind of yeah, it's a feel-good song.
What set were you in when you're writing it?
What, sorry?
What set were you in when you're writing it?
Funnily enough, not in the state of mind that I said I was in the song. I was writing it in the like knowledge that I would be there at some point. But I can't say that when I wrote it, I was thinking, actually, I feel great now and everything's sorted. It wasn't really like that, but I had this idea in my head of like, I want to, because I'd actually finished Lost and then I finished Thrive, and I thought the next one is just like simple, more upbeat, and it's like I'm going to be in a state of mind where I just really like being on my own, and that was like the premise of the whole thing. So although I don't think I was quite there yet, I wrote it, and then I came back to it a couple of months later and I thought, now I really feel that is exactly how I feel now, so I'm glad I wrote it down.
So out of creating all this and going through the pandemic for you to kickstart off your career as a solo act and making your own music and making the music that you want to make, what did you learn about yourself?
I learned that, and I've said it a lot during this interview, I'm going to say it again, I learned that I can do it on my own, and you can do everything on your own. It's crazy. I mean, of course, like I just said, there's a team around you, they help you, and they're going to support you, and they're going to help you put the music out there, they're going to help make visuals and everything. But what I mean when I say you can do it on your own is that everything you need is already there. You can ask your friends, you can ask your neighbors, you can ask people you work with. You know, people have so many talents around you. So doing it on your own, to me, isn't like literally I'm just doing everything on my own, but doing it on my own means I don't have big teams behind me, I don't have big management, I don't have loads of money. It's not like that. It's very like homemade projects that I do on my own by using the people that are around me and like collaborating and working together in that sense. And I think also just being brave. I'm a bit braver than I thought I was, because it's hard to put yourself out there in a position where you know you're going to be judged and to talk about things that are personal. So I would say, yeah, like I've definitely learned that I can do it. Like I can make these kind of things by myself, and I am brave enough, and I do want to be vulnerable and just say, look, here it is, and if you like it, great, and if you don't, you know, that's fine as well.
And I think what I hear all in there is the most important thing for you is the creative freedom to do what you really want to do.
Yeah, I realized as well that I need that. I need to feel that it's mine and it's me, and it's how I'm hearing it in my head, it's how I'm seeing it, and it needs to feel like me, because the minute I start to feel like I'm copying someone or that someone's taking it away from me, it's not mine anymore. So and I have a lot going on in my head. I'm like, you know, I'm always thinking of I could do this and I could do that. So I need that space and that freedom to just be able to exactly execute how I envision it. And I absolutely, Hummingbird is actually exactly what I wanted it to be in that sense. So I'm proud of it. I am proud of it.
Yeah, you should be proud of it, because it's an amazing project. Yes. So for people that want to connect with you guys, go check out Hummingbird. The Hummingbird, it's called Hummingbird EP, all right, by Sonia Elisheva. Go check that out. So people that want to check you out and follow the journey, where can you send them?
You can follow me on anything: Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok, although I don't use it that much. Spotify, of course, iTunes, YouTube, everything. If you type Sonia Elisheva, you'll definitely find me.
Yes, and so we are going to wrap up the show with State of Mind. All right, that is off the EP. Go check out the EP. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Extreme BPM. We're on Tuesdays and Fridays, guys, 8 p.m. East African time. Check that with your time, and make sure you don't miss any of them. But if you miss any of the episodes, you can go and go to any podcast app of choice, search for the Extreme BPM. Actually, it's Extreme BPM, and you'll get all the previous episodes and check out all the guests that we've had on. All we can ask for is, guys, should go and stream the music. That's all we ask of you guys. Just stream the music, support the artists, check them out on socials, and anything else we left out from the EP?
I think we covered everything. But yeah, I just want to quickly say as well, thank you so much for the opportunity to come and talk about it. I really appreciate you supporting emerging artists. I think it's really cool. So thank you to you as well.